Hey YouTube, you can call me Budget Nerd. Today we'll be looking at another robot vacuum. This one was sent over by ZooZee. Let's give it a few minutes of our time and see if it's any good. ZooZee sent over their flagship model, the Z70. It's made in China and comes in at $500 or $300 with the coupon. That's quite the coupon, but the coupon can give you a good idea of what a product is really worth. I'm just saying. Anyway, in the box you'll find a green envelope, no doubt with some papers in it, and maybe $5 from Grandma. This vacuum will also mop, and you get the mopping stuff, including a spare mop pad. You can remove it to clean it. You also get the vacuum, which makes a lot of sense. I think it looks good, and the pattern on the top is cool. Looks to be built pretty well, and so far I have no complaints. All that's left are just some side brushes, power adapter for the dock, the dustbin, the mopping bin comes installed, and then the dock itself. On the front you can see there are some sensors so it won't bump things. Some kind of sonar, I'm sure. The dock is pretty bare bones, but it works. The app you can install is called ZooZee. Setup was pretty easy, and like all of these robot vacuums I test, my family had to name it. This one is Susie. In the app, the robot will map out the house pretty accurately, actually. And you can also update the robot, check out the cleaning history, and possibly my most favorite setting of all time, the voice setting. You can also schedule cleanings, set a do not disturb mode which will prevent it from running during a time frame you set. You also get a kid mode which will ignore any single button presses on the robot, which is a good idea. You can also partition off sections of your house, create virtual walls, tell the vacuum where to mop, and more. All that stuff works pretty well. It's best not to leave it idle, so it won't have time to plot our demise. Let's put it to work. It seems like it does a pretty good job, but one thing became apparent quickly. Its algorithm for working its way around the house could use some polish. This pesky transition in my house I always mention in these reviews did give this robot a decent amount of trouble. At times it would go right up, but most of the time it really struggled, and a few times it even needed help. Generally, if given enough time, it would get there. It also did a pretty good job not ramming into things, but it would get stuck on a few things from time to time. It seemed like it could tell where it was, but wasn't always sure what to do with this information. At times it just looked confused. After adding it to the app on my phone, there was an update, but I didn't notice any real change. Despite this, it would still make it around the whole house. Battery life was pretty good, and while it did pick up a decent amount of stuff, it didn't really seem like it was picking up anything super deep. This is the first robot vacuum that I've reviewed that didn't have a remote control, and I also found that having the LiDAR spinny thing on the back would sometimes prevent it from turning when it drove under some things. It would get pinched and not let it turn, but it only did it under this particular bench. It also seemed to mostly go straight, taking subtle wavy paths through the house. Not a big deal, but if you're the type that likes their vacuum lines straight, this one might not satisfy. I had it mop in our kitchen. It looks like it will vacuum and mop at the same time, which is pretty nice. It did a decent job mopping, but don't expect it to get up anything stubborn. I had it make 4 passes on this food mess, and it never got much of it. I don't think this is an issue with this vacuum. I'm sure most robots that do mop do not pick up anything other than your normal surface dirt. This one is no exception. After it was done, you can tell it definitely didn't waste its time mopping. So this one is the type of vacuum you can set and forget, with a few exceptions. You might have to unstick it and help it on the rare occasion. It's not quite as refined as our D-Bot Osmo 920, but its price tag is much, much less. For $299, it seems like a pretty good option. My only complaints were generally pretty minor, and considering what you get for the price, it's not too bad. Should you choose to grab one, there's a link below, and thanks for watching.
Cargando la batería. Espere, por favor.